Hi guys, and welcome to Ill Productions. My name is Antonio, and today we're going to be talking about my review for the DJI Osmo Nano. I've been a fan of DJI products for many years now, since the debut of their first camera drone. I've owned the DJI Osmo Pocket since it first came out back in 2018. So when the Osmo Pocket debuted, I was really excited to get this camera, just basically mainly because of the size and how easily a camera that's that discreet and that small allows you to get shots that you can't get with most other cameras, or that you can't get as easily with most other cameras. So I had nothing but the best expectations for this camera. Although I have to say, after using this camera for a few weeks now, there has been areas that hasn't met the expectations. Let's first start by talking about the resolution. This camera will really surprise you at times. Sometimes under the right lighting, you'll turn this camera on and easily get beautiful footage. When we were in stores where there's plenty of light, when it was daytime and I was sitting downstairs in the kitchen where we have a lot of light pouring in through our back sliding door, in other situations where there's plenty of light, you're not going to have any issues getting really good footage with this camera. I think where you really start running into problems is when there's low light situations. So at night, for example, right in front of my computer, I would notice this grain that I tried many different things to get rid of, shooting in different resolutions, playing around with the shutter speed and of course the ISO, and I just really couldn't get rid of the grain. Now, I'm pretty sure you can remove that grain pretty easily using DaVinci Resolve, which I do have, but I know most people are going to use this camera the way you use the Osmo Pocket, and that's pretty much just turning this thing on and pointing and shooting and getting that good footage that you expect out of DJI cameras. So I have to mention that. I feel like in low light footage, it's not the best camera if you don't want to have to doctor that footage up. Now, when it comes to colors, this camera captures beautiful colors. Especially if you like to shoot in log, you're going to be able to pull some beautiful colors during the editing process with the footage you're going to be able to record with this camera. So when it comes to color, when it comes to shooting in good lighting, you're going to love what you can pull out of this camera. It's amazing. The biggest drawbacks to owning this camera is the very flaw that I've seen mentioned many times in the reviews, which is the overheating issue. The most time that I've been able to get from this camera in terms of runtime is under an hour.
So when I was in Five Below and recording, the battery died. And I kid you not, we haven't even been out for an hour, let alone running this camera for an hour. So that is a big drawback for me. That really makes me not feel like I might want to keep this thing. I'm out trying to, get some time out with it, trying it and see, the way it works and everything. And again, I really don't like that. So I just wanted to let you know that I was filming for like another maybe 5 minutes and it cut out on me. I thought it was overheating because it was really hot. So I thought maybe it was because it overheated. And I'm only shooting in 2K, 25 frames per second. I'm not even shooting in 4K. And the thing cut out on me and it gets really hot. So already, I'm really starting to think this might not be a good camera for me. So I just wanted to let you guys know that.
I believe DJI says that this camera achieves up to 400 minutes of recording time. Don't quote me on that. I think it's somewhere around there. I haven't been able to get anything close to that. After tallying up all the minutes of runtime that I've been able to achieve in one recording session with this camera, it was around, I want to say 40 or so minutes before the camera, number one, was really, really hot and cut off on me. And it was so hot when it cut off, I really thought it was because the temperature had gotten too high. But when I went back and plugged the camera back up and was able to turn the camera back on, I realized it was the battery. The battery was completely drained. And I believe that's because when the camera heats up really hot, the battery is going to die even faster. So that's a major drawback. And the really bad part about it is I wasn't even shooting in 4K. Mostly every time I'm recording with this camera, I'm shooting in 2K. If I'm not shooting in 2K, I'm shooting in 1080p. I don't even shoot in 60 frames per second. I'm always shooting in 25 frames per second. So it was very disappointing not even being able to record for an hour straight with this camera. So I just really want to warn you, if you're thinking about getting this camera and you know you're going to need it in settings where you need to record for over that amount of time, that's going to be a major issue. Now, I will say I may have found a solution for this issue. Right now I'm recording on this camera, and I meant to say that at the beginning of this video. I'm using this camera right now for this review video, and I created a setup for this where I'm using a USB-C charging cable that I have connected to a portable battery. So the camera is literally attached to my tripod sitting on the table in front of me, and it has the charging cable connected to it, and I have the cable plugged into the battery while it's suspended from my tripod. And that will allow me not to have to worry about the battery dying on me while I'm recording this. Also, my portable solution for when I'm on the go and I'm going to be in and out of the car using this camera throughout the day to record many different things is a USB-C car charger. So I use pretty much the same cable that I have hooked up now to my portable battery. I have a portable USB-C car charger that I'm able to plug the cable up into, and in between different places I may go and get footage, I'll charge the camera in the car. So that'll also increase your recording time throughout the day. You just have to remember that you pretty much can't expect to get more than about 40 minutes in one recording session. I also noticed when I was out with the family and I was recording, I had completely disconnected the vision dock from the actual camera, which is supposed to increase your recording time. Though, despite only turning the camera on the moment we went inside the store that we were in, I may have only been able to continue recording for about maybe 15, 20 minutes tops before the camera cut off on me. Now, the camera was really hot at the time it cut off, so I thought that that was due to overheating. But when I actually got into the car and I plugged the camera up into the charger, I noticed that the battery was completely drained. So my theory is, as the camera overheats, it's drastically killing your battery life. And I believe this is the reason why so many people are complaining that they're only getting minutes of runtime off of this camera before the battery dies. Now, I really can't suggest anything other than maybe shooting in 1080p to try to increase your recording time. But at the same time, again, I was only shooting in 2K at 25 frames per second. And I still only managed to be able to get around maybe 15, 20 minutes total of recording time. So I can't specifically say that recording in 1080p is necessarily going to increase your recording time. I believe where this camera really shines is it has a very small form factor that, in my experience in the many different places that I've recorded, is very discreet, and most people don't even notice it. And to tell the truth, if you actually put a piece of tape, a piece of black tape, over the blinking light on the front, and you maybe wear the camera, most people wouldn't notice it at all. Aside from that, the biggest advantages to this camera is also in relation to its size. You can put this camera in many tight spots, in many places that you're just not going to get any other camera. And once you separate the camera from the actual vision dock, those areas increase drastically. And I'm pretty sure if you just take the time to search on YouTube or any other place around the internet, social media, you're going to find some pretty clever ways people have managed to use this camera because of that. And that is mainly the reason why I purchased this camera. I have a couple much bigger mirrorless cameras, being my Panasonic S5 IIX and my Sony A7 III. And of course, when it comes to the amount of time it takes to set those cameras up and go out on the go and shoot and record, not to mention the fact that those cameras are a pretty big size, especially once you include the rig that I have hooked up on both of those, that attracts, of course, a lot of attention everywhere you go. And that's going to interfere with you trying to blend into the background and being able to record without bothering anybody or anybody bothering you asking questions about what you're doing. And I think that is what attracts most people about this camera. So the question really just comes down to, am I going to keep the Osmo Nano? And you know what? That has been a very hard question to answer. In fact, to be honest with you, I had already completely packed this camera away as well as the accessories and planned on returning it. And I still have a few more days left to decide if I will. Although, because of the very small form factor, the genius ways that you can use this camera and get some really incredible looking shots, I do believe the moment I return this camera, if I do, that I'm really going to regret it. Because I have no other camera that can replace this, and that even includes my GoPro Hero Black. When it comes to this camera, there's really nothing that can replace this camera. Not a GoPro, not your cell phone, and definitely not any mirrorless camera. Even when you compare the DJI Osmo Action or even the DJI Osmo Pocket, there's just simply no comparison to the small form factor that you're going to get from being able to separate the DJI Osmo Nano from the vision dock and be able to use it in some hard to reach places. So because of this camera sensor's potential to record really great looking footage that doesn't even seem like it came from a small camera and looks more like it came from a mirrorless camera, you're going to be pulling your hair out trying to figure out how you can really replace this camera. So I'm really playing it day by day as I continue to find ways to use this camera and decide whether or not, before my time runs out in just a few more days, if I'm going to end up returning this camera or just keeping it. Either way, I'm going to let you guys know. And until then, aside from working and things I have to do that takes up most of my time, when I am free, I'm going to continue to try to find cool ways that I can really get some really good footage out of this camera. And I'll post it right here on my channel, Ill Productions. So if this is the type of videos that you like to watch, and if you're interested in cameras and everything cinematic and film, please subscribe and support this channel. And I hope to see you back here watching more of the videos that are going to be coming up really soon. Thank you guys for watching. Please like the video and again subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.